Close your eyes now and feel your breath moving in and out. This rhythm you carry with you everywhere, this gentle rise and fall, has a story older than mountains, older than forests, a story written in water long before there was air to breathe. Let yourself sink deeper now as we journey back, far back, to a time when breathing didn't exist at all. 540 million years ago, give or take a few million, the oceans held creatures so simple, so small, they had no need for what we call breathing. These earliest ancestors of yours, these tiny chordates drifting in ancient seas, had no lungs, no gills, nothing we would recognize as a way to breathe. They simply absorbed. Oxygen dissolved in seawater passed directly through their skin, moving gently inward, molecule by molecule, in a process called diffusion. The whole body was a breathing surface. Every cell touched by the water, every cell taking what it needed, giving back what it didn't. It was slow, inefficient perhaps, but it was enough. And as you breathe now, feel how far you've come from those humble beginnings. Breathe in slowly and out. Around this same time, these early creatures developed something curious. Not for breathing, not yet, but for eating. Along their throats appeared a series of slits, pharyngeal slits. We call them perforations in the tissue that allowed water to flow in through the mouth and out through the sides. Imagine it, water streaming in, carrying microscopic food particles, and flowing out again through these slits, while the food stayed behind, caught on specialized tissues. These slits were feeding structures, nothing more. Breathing still happened through the skin, as it always had. But evolution works in mysterious ways. It takes what already exists and repurposes it, transforms it, finds new uses for old structures. And so, slowly, over millions of years, these simple feeding slits would become something entirely different. Let your breathing slow now, matching the pace of deep time, where change happens grain by grain, wave by wave. 530 million years ago, the first true respiratory system began to emerge. Those pharyngeal slits, those feeding structures, gradually became lined with thin tissues rich in blood vessels. Water flowing through them could now do double duty, bringing in food and bringing in oxygen. These were the first gills. Not yet the complex, efficient organs you might picture in a fish today, but the beginning, the structural foundation. Tissue-thin membranes where water and blood came close enough to exchange their gifts. Breathe in and feel the gift of oxygen filling you. This transformation didn't happen for breathing alone. Recent evidence suggests that gills evolved first for something more fundamental, managing salt and ions in the body. The ocean is salty, and life's internal chemistry requires a delicate balance. These early gill-like structures helped maintain that balance, regulating what came in and what went out. Oxygen exchange was almost an afterthought, a bonus feature that would eventually become the main purpose. Such is the way of evolution, accidental genius, written over eons. Around 520 million years ago, the first jawless fish appeared. We call them agnathans, creatures with elongated bodies and cartilaginous skeletons, swimming through Cambrian seas with 7 pairs of gill arches supporting their breathing apparatus. 7 pairs. Count them in your mind as you breathe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Each arch a delicate framework of cartilage, each one supporting tissue where water and blood met. And here's where something remarkable happened, something so elegant, so efficient, that it persists in fish to this very day. The blood in these gills began to flow in the opposite direction from the water. Countercurrent flow, we call it. Water flowing one way across the gill's surface, blood flowing the other way just beneath. This means that even as the blood picks up oxygen, it's constantly meeting fresher water, water that hasn't yet given up all its oxygen. The result? Maximum extraction. Gills can pull up to 80 or 90% of the oxygen from water using this method. Your lungs, by comparison, extract only about 25% of the oxygen from the air you breathe. Gills in their element are far more efficient. Let yourself marvel at this for a moment, this ancient innovation, as your breath continues, slow and steady. 2 layers of tissue, ectoderm and endoderm, forming around what will become your throat. They never become gills, of course. They transform into other structures, parts of your jaw, your inner ear, your throat. But for a fleeting moment in development, you recapitulate this ancient history. You carry the memory of gills in your very cells. Breathe in that knowledge, breathe out, and feel yourself sinking deeper still. Time passes. Tens of millions of years pass. 460 million years ago, something revolutionary happened. The first jawed vertebrates appeared. These fish, placoderms, armored and formidable, developed hinged jaws from what had once been the first gill arch. That frontmost arch, which had supported gills, transformed into a mouth that could open and close, bite and grasp. Suddenly, the ocean's food web shifted. Predation became more efficient. Life became more complex. But there was a trade-off. That first gill arch was gone now, repurposed. These jawed fish had fewer gills than their jawless ancestors. So evolution compensated. A small opening appeared just behind the eye. A spiracle, we call it, through which water could still flow to reach the remaining gills. In some fish, this spiracle became quite pronounced. In sharks, you can still see it today. And later still in the bony fish, the ones that would eventually give rise to your ancestors, a bony plate called the operculum evolved to cover and protect the gills. It acts like a lid, opening and closing, creating a pumping action that moves water across the gill surfaces even when the fish isn't swimming. Such ingenuity, such layered adaptation. Rest in that thought as you breathe in and out. Now we come to a crucial moment, a fork in the evolutionary road. Pay attention here, but gently, with a relaxed mind. Lungs did not evolve from gills. This might surprise you. The story seems so logical. Fish lived in water, breathed with gills, then crawled onto land and evolved lungs. Gills became lungs. But no, that's not what happened. Gills and lungs both arose from pharyngeal tissues, from that same ancient throat region, but they evolved independently along parallel tracks, neither one becoming the other. Around 400 million years ago, some early bony fish developed something entirely new, a small outpocketing from the underside of the pharynx. A ventral unpaired sac lined with blood vessels that could hold air. A lung. these fish still had gills. The lungs didn't replace them, they supplemented them. In shallow, stagnant waters where oxygen levels drop, where the sun warms the surface and decomposition consumes what little oxygen remains, these fish could rise to surface, gulp air, and extract oxygen from their internal lung sac. It was a backup system, an insurance policy against suffocation. And here's something fascinating. Even cartilaginous fish, sharks and rays, which never developed lungs themselves, carry the genetic toolkit for lung development. The genes are there, waiting, and used. Evidence that the potential for lungs existed deep in the vertebrate lineage, even before lungs physically appeared. Evolution doesn't invent from nothing. It works with what's already there, activating dormant possibilities, exploring the adjacent possible. From here, the story splits. In one branch of the fish family tree, the ray-finned fish, which make up most fish species today, those primitive lungs transformed over time into swim bladders. Gas-filled sacs used not for breathing, but for buoyancy control. They help fish rise and sink in the water column without expending energy. Breathing function lost. Flotation function gained. But in another branch, the lobe-finned fish, the sarcopterygians, the lungs remain functional. Vascularized, connected to the outside world, ready to breathe air when needed. Lungfish, those remarkable survivors still living in freshwater habitats today, retain true functional lungs. They can gulp air at the surface. In dry seasons, when rivers and ponds shrink and oxygen becomes scarce, lungfish burrow into mud and breathe air almost exclusively. They are living bridges between water and land. Feel your own lungs now, these paired organs cradled in your chest, so refined, so specialized. They no longer help you float. They do one thing, and do it well. They breathe. In and out, in and out. Let the rhythm carry you deeper into rest. Rest in that connection. Breathe, and let yourself drift gently into sleep.